Okay. So good morning, everybody. This is our philosophy class on Thursday mornings, and we're still finishing up our week that we've spent talking about shoulders. So the other classes this week have been very kind of yoga therapy, structural yoga therapy focused. We talked about muscles and bones and how everything connects. Now I'm going to go right out into kind of the philosophy world and talk about shoulders from a completely different perspective. So we're starting in a seated position. I hope you're comfortable. Please feel free to sit in a chair if that's better for you. When you sit, try to make sure your hip joints are higher than your knee joints. So in other words, if you put a marble at your hip joint, it would roll down your thigh towards your knee. So there's that downward slope. So you might need to prop underneath you. I'm sitting on a bolster as I sit here. If you feel comfortable to close your eyes, you can do that, or you can just soften your eyes and look down at the ground and begin to notice what you bring to your practice this morning. I want to put an idea in your head that might inspire us. And we've done this kind of class together before, if you've been doing yoga classes with me for a while. And I really like this way of thinking of the shoulders. So in our structural yoga therapy classes this week, and you'll be getting the recordings, so you can repeat them anytime you want, the shoulder and the pelvic girdles are related. The shoulder girdle sits on the pelvic girdle, which is the hip bones, the sacrum, the pubis. And the relationship of the pelvis to the shoulder girdle is very intimate. These are the places in your body, the means for implementing action. Our competence in the physical world depends on their proper functioning. Often we come at problems in the pelvic girdle or the shoulder girdle with a physical sort of manipulation or technique. Yoga can be one of those things. But however, if you look at them as their ability to implement action, it's the shoulder girdle that connects the creative expression of the hands and arms with the core of our being, which is the heart. Our shoulders provide a means for us to reach out to others. Only when the shoulders are free to move can we effectively open the wings of the heart and transform our feelings into actions that benefit the world. So I think that's just such a profound sort of idea. So let's sit and kind of be with that for a moment. That when we're restricted in the shoulders, we're restricted in our ability to express our true heart. Our creativity is inhibited. And as Michelle would pipe in, creativity is what we were born to share. That's who we are. That's our uniqueness, our humanness. When we inhibit our creativity, we're not fully human. And it's only when our shoulders are free to move can we effectively open the wings of the heart. This is our arms and our hands are the ways that we express our feelings. And sometimes that comes through in an actual creative project, something that you make with your hands. For me, it's cooking. That's my creativity. How I feed my family, how I present a dish or a baked good. That's my heart. When I can't hug my grandbabies right now, I'm making them chocolate cupcakes and gingerbread men and everything I can think of, because that's my heart. Our shoulders, the mobility in the shoulders, allow us to express that. So as we sit here, just kind of notice, and I've deliberately chosen an upright posture rather than laying down to start, because often when we start sitting upright or standing upright is when we notice the tension starting to creep in. As you start to move towards a more conscious breath this morning, do you feel any mobilization of the shoulder blades on the back ribs? We worked on that a lot yesterday in the core yoga class, so you might want to repeat that. We talked about a jellyfish-like movement of the diaphragm and really kind of starting to liberate the movement of the shoulder blades. So those are the wings. Those are the wings on your back. Okay. So coming at our postures this morning with this reverence or this love for our ability to express our heart through our shoulder and arm movement. So let's come to a standing position. I'm going to take off my socks so that I can work on the mat effectively. You might want to do that as well. I'm going to remove my blanket because I don't want anything to really trip me up right now. I might need that later. Let's come to stand in mountain pose. So we were just kind of reviewing briefly. We've talked about it in our other structural yoga therapy classes this week about the relationship of the pelvic girdle to the shoulder girdle. So let's just address that briefly. Lift and spread your toes a few times. Roll the feet around into the ground. Come up onto the balls of the feet, rock back onto the heels. Okay. Roll your ankle joint out a few times because nothing operates in isolation. Good. I'm working out the knee a little bit there. Same thing for the other leg. No, you could hold onto the wall or a chair. Balance is an issue today. Not to take any time to stress about that. Good. And then coming back to a mountain pose type position. Finding your base. Good. And then let's work a little bit with the fingers. Here we're going to get up into the shoulder joint, but we're coming at it from the what we might call the distal end or the more mobile end of the shoulder joint. That's where your arms are. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to just turn around briefly. Sorry about the back. I'm going to come a little closer. Just want to talk about the shoulder blades. I know we did a lot of work on that already this week. But just kind of talk about the shoulder blades. On the inhale, draw them into the spine. Exhale, let them wing apart. So if you think about this idea of the shoulder blades being the wings of the heart, you're starting to kind of flutter your wings, aren't you? It's not the elbows, it's the shoulder blades that we're really thinking about here. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then let's just do a little bit of work to go to basic range of motion in the shoulders. I'm turning sideways, you're fine where you are. As you inhale, draw the arms back, and then exhale, lift. So this is just a gentle range of motion exercise. Try to move your shoulders in a way that doesn't cause pain, doesn't create a lot of clicking or clunking. Really being tender with your shoulder joints, knowing that the mobility in the shoulder joints allows you to express your heart. When we force, when we push, when we get bully-like, then we close down the energy of the heart. We close down our creativity. So when you start really pushing your shoulder and saying, I'm going to get into that pose no matter what, or, I'm going to do this hard work no matter what, then that closes down the creativity. It closes down our humanness. Let's take a couple breaths here. So inhale, turn the palms out, soften it through the elbows and open the wings. Exhale, soften back down. Taking a couple breaths like that, very similar to the beginning moves of our sun salutation. And coming back to mountain pose. Okay. So we're going to get into the core of the matter now. I'm going to demonstrate something you can do with your chair if you don't care to weight bear on your knees. I'm going to turn my chair around so the seat of the chair is facing a wall. Sitting at the edge of the chair, hands on the wall, you can take one leg out and then follow along with all of the movements of the spine and the arms from here. This is a great way to get into the core of the matter without having to weight bear on the knees. Now, for those of us who are okay to weight bear on the knees, I still like a little bit of cushion. Let's come to table pose. So you could be sitting on a chair, hands at the wall. That can be your version of table pose today. Or we can come here. And then when you're ready, we're going to take a little bit of cat-cow action. So hands on the wall, hands on the floor, doesn't really matter. Soften the elbows. Inhale, lift the breastbone up and through the arms. Exhale, gather the belly muscles in and really start to activate the strength there. So a little bit of cat-cow, very soft, very easy. Become very aware of the area around the heart center. So think about this as from the perspective of the center of your chest, where you have your spiritual heart energy floating. And notice the effect of the inhale position and the exhale position. How's it affecting the wings of the heart? So the shoulder blades. And are you going through this very familiar motion with respect and reverence for the importance of the heart energy moving through the arms? How connected is the heart energy to the arms as you move here? Last breath. I'm turning sideways to see you better, but you're fine where you are. Can you take your left leg out to the side? So if you're sitting in a chair, just stretch your left leg out the way I demonstrated. Good. So we've all found one leg stretched out to the side. I'm going to work with the right side of the body now. Let's just tuck the arm gently behind the back, flatten the collarbone into the heart center. Inhale, elongate the spine, and exhale, lean out over the leg. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, lean out over the leg. So a lot of times we think about the heart from the front because that's what we see when we look in the mirror. But when we talk about these energy centers like the heart chakra, we're talking about a spherical, a dynamic, glowing kind of ball of energy. So it has multi-dimensions. And the dimension that we most often lose touch with is the side body, I think. So this is really starting to open up the side. Maybe we'll hold this stretch for a moment, really starting to focus on the right side of the rib cage, thinking about the right side of the heart energy, radiating maybe a little bit of that beautiful light out to the right side of your mat. Take a couple breaths there and just release energy that way. And allow yourself to feel that. And then if your shoulder is happy with it, release the arm, but do so in a way, not that I'm trying to reach up with my right hand, but that I feel that energy oozing out towards the right, and it's inspiring me to extend and open through the right side, through my right wing. And it's just an offering out to the world, an offering out from my heart to the world. So I'm not trying to reach with anything to my right hand. I'm just trying to express. Take one more breath there. And then let's come back to the table pose. Breath in and out. And then we can extend the right leg. Good. And let's go through that journey again. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, angling out to the side. Inhale, nice and tall. And exhaling to the side. You might notice one side expresses your radiance better than the other side. The other side, I felt I had a lot more room. Here, I feel so compressed in comparison. I don't know if anybody else is having that experience, but isn't that interesting that through this side, I don't have as much creative energy flowing. I don't have as much willingness to share my light with the world. And sometimes things happen in life and our hearts get a little bruised, right? We're a little bit shy to show our creativity, our uniqueness. So on this side, I might have a few more bruises. Maybe we'll hold the stretch. You're always welcome to keep moving if that feels better. And when you're really tight, sometimes that's the right strategy. And then can you really think about this side radiating out that heart energy? Sometimes I like to picture an actual glowing light radiating from the side of my body. If a color comes to you, traditionally the color is often green for this chakra, but that is by no means accurate for most of our experience. So ask yourself, is it rainbow? Is it kaleidoscope? Is it one color or another? I don't know, is there a color? Just let your creativity kind of go. And then you're welcome to express this side of your heart by extending the arm. It's not that I'm reaching for something with my left hand. It's just that this is the conduit. This is the radiation of my heart energy out into the world. And that's what I'm born to do. That's where we're all truly connected, is through the heart energy, isn't it? That's what really matters. One more nice deep breath. And then let's go back to our table pose. Take a breath in and out. And then if you can, keep your hands on the wall or on the floor if you're doing my version, and stick the left leg out again. I have a picture of my older grandson when he was about a year old. I first started babysitting him and I had the yoga mat out and he was on the yoga mat doing exactly this. So unself-conscious, you know? So can we be like that in our practice? With the one leg extended, let's go back to a little bit of cat-cow action. Noticing how the wings of the heart are moving as we recreate the undulation in the spine. And then let's release the left arm as you inhale. Again, radiate from the heart. So don't reach for anything, but radiate from the heart. Inhale here. And then exhale, gather that heart energy back and bring it in towards your heart. Inhale, radiate the arm, heart energy expanding, and then gather that back in towards your heart. So there's a little rotation of the spine here, but it's about that expansion and collection of energy. One more breath. And then let's come back to the table pose. Take a breath in and out. And we'll extend the right leg out to the side. Take a couple cat-cows, inhaling and exhaling. Thinking about this movement from the perspective of the shoulder blades, the wings of the heart. And then on your next inhale, think about this from the point of view of the heart. Radiate out to the right. And then as you exhale, gather that beautiful radiance back in. Notice if the colors are changing at all, or if there is any visual component to this at all for you. So each of us, it has a very unique experience as we go through our postures. And I think that's one of the reasons that yoga can be so helpful for creativity. I mean, a lot of the big performers and artists of our world use yoga to get more in touch with their creativity, because this gives us permission to have our own unique experience. Last breath. And we'll come back to the table pose. And for those of you on the chair, stay right where you are. For those of us on the ground, we might choose a little bit of a rest in child's pose at this point. I'm going to speak to the people using a chair right now. We're going to come into some work in lunge. So you might want to get up off your chair, turn around to face the seat of the chair. Just make sure your chair is stabilized. It's not going to go anywhere. And then just follow along with us from there. For those of us who are in child's pose, can we come back up to the table pose? And now we've all found table pose, either using a chair or being on the ground. Let's take the right leg, inhale, lift it up back towards the wall behind you, and exhale, gather the knee in towards the chest. Allow a little bit of fluidity to drip down from the heart center into the pelvic girdle, sharing that beautiful heart energy with the hard-working hip joint. One more breath. And then let's switch legs. Inhale, left leg extends. Exhale, knee comes in. Just kind of noticing, if you can, the sense of being connected between the heart and the hips. What's happening in the heart energy lands in the hips and often gets stuck there. And we get restricted and pain and different things happening in the hips. And we need to connect that in order to process all of our human experience. Good. And then let's bring ourselves back into table pose. Inhale, extend the right leg again. Exhale, draw the knee in. See if you can bring the knee up towards the heart center and hold there for a breath. Are your hips even to the ground? You haven't hiked the right one too much, right? Just kind of feel that energy and heat building in the center of the body. Let the fires of the belly help to heat the energy of the heart, make it more fluid and flowing. And then we're going to take the right foot, step it forward towards the chair or towards your hands. When you've got your balance, see if you can take your hands to the front thigh. You're welcome to keep the left hand on the chair if you need a little help with balance. So just trying to make sure that we have our alignment in place so we protect the pelvis. We set the pelvis up for a good foundation. We want to try to keep the knee over the ankle, the hip level with the knee if possible, and both sitting bones equally grounded towards the floor. Hug the two sides of your body towards each other. It's like you have magnets sewn on the inseam of your pants, and that's going to help keep the pelvic girdle collected, even though we're doing a hip stretch here. So bring the front foot kind of closer towards you. It doesn't actually move because I know it's stuck in the sticky mat, but the front foot is coming back. The back foot or the back knee is kind of hugging forward. So there's this happening and there's this happening. So the pelvis is wrapped in a nice secure hug. When the pelvic girdle is so hugged and supported, now we can let the heart energy be a little bit more fluid. So let's explore that a little bit. Taking your hands into like hitchhiker fists, nice soft bend in the elbows. Keep the hands kind of low. We don't want to reach really high. And then when you inhale, turn the thumbs backwards, widen the collarbones. And as you exhale, thumbs down, roll forward, spread the shoulder blades. So we're giving the heart energy a nice little ride. We're surfing on the firmness of the pelvic stabilization you've created, and you're surfing on the wave of the breath. Try a couple more breaths here. And on your next exhale, take your hands either to the chair or to the floor, and we'll come back into the table pose. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, hug the knee in towards the chest. Lift the knee up, hold here for a few breaths, stoking the fires of the belly and warming like you're melting chocolate. And so that the heart energy becomes more fluid and really flows down the arms into the tips of the fingers. Then stepping the left foot forward to find your lunge on the side. So same idea, want to have a firm pelvis, firm foundation, so that our heart energy feels safe to truly express itself. So pressing into the front foot and then have the sense of dragging that foot in. Press down into the back foot or back knee, whatever's down. Have a sense of dragging that in, and then pull the two thighs of your body, right and left, come in towards the center line. Notice how you gather energy into the hip girdle. Now we can work with a nice open heart. Inhale, collarbones wide. Exhale, shoulder blades wide apart. Taking your time, making sure these movements feel neutral, really, in your shoulders. Not too much drama there. We don't want to spook our creative energy. We're trying to really nurture it today. Last breath. And then let's release back into table pose. You could take a child's pose again, if that's the best thing for you. If you would like, we could come into a downward facing dog. Hands on the chair works great here. It actually gives you a lot more space to breathe for a lot of us. So you might want to try that variation. If we're doing the more traditional downward facing dog, please place your hands fairly wide apart on the mat. Press into each one of the knuckles, especially the base knuckle on the index finger and the base knuckle on the thumb, and really kind of sense that you're really able to push the hands away from you. So there's a lot of movement back in towards the heart energy. I'm going to tuck the toes under, start to float the knees. Keep the heart open, keep the heart open, keep the heart open as we stretch in all directions. A couple breaths here. And if you find that you start to close down, you start to get nervous, there's pain, then you take another variation. You use the chair or you stick to child's pose for today. How much movement and fluidity is in the rib cage in downward facing dog for you today? And then from your downward facing dog, your hands could be on the chair, or you could be in table pose, or you can be in down dog. Let's inhale and lift the left leg up. And exhale, draw the knee in towards the chest. Now you've already been here from table pose, but this might be new. Stepping the foot forward to find lunge. So hands could be on the chair, could be on the ground, but we found lunge with the back knee lifted now. Look back at your right foot, step it a bit more to the right side of the mat so that you make sure you have some space for your lovely pelvis. While you watch that back foot, turn it so the whole foot comes to the ground. Make sure your left knee stays over top of your left ankle. And then when you're ready, we'll come up and we found ourselves in Warrior Two. Let's talk a little bit about heart energy in Warrior Two, because a lot of times what happens is our shoulders are tired and we're like this in Warrior Two, just totally closed down. It doesn't feel like a creative place. So let's drop our arms, go back to the pelvic girdle. Have a sense of trying to drag this foot back and this foot forward and see if that helps you to gather energy back up into the body. So we often, try to stretch in yoga and we unnecessarily disperse energy rather than bringing it back into the core. So gather energy back up into the pelvic girdle. Feel your legs are strong and stable. And then let's move a little bit similarly to what we did in our lunge pose. Maybe we'll start with hands to the heart, just to draw energy into the heart center. And then think about radiating from the heart center, not reaching towards the sidewalls or anything like that, but turn the palms up and show your heart to the world. Inhale here. And then exhale, draw the energy back into the heart. Now, as you open your arms up, you could gently turn to look towards the left. But think about offering on the inhales, using the power of the inhale to offer, to show, to glow, to stoke the fires of the heart center. And then come back to center. One more breath. And then let's open the arms. Keep the elbows soft, keep the palms up or facing forward for now. So if I put a marble here on your shoulder, it would roll down your arm. And you think about really being connected to the heart center. The heart center is radiating energy out to your fingertips. Slowly straighten your left leg. It doesn't have to lock, but it looks a bit straighter now. Take one more inhale, really sending energy out to the fingertips. Keep that energy into the fingertips as you tip over into your triangle pose, Trikonasana. So we want to really think about what's happening in the center of the chest here. Is the energy still radiating out easily through the top and bottom arm? Remember, we want to gather the left foot into the center, the right foot into the center. So even though the feet are fixed onto the sticky mat, there's a sense of connecting in the center line here. Feel stability and confidence in the pelvic girdle so we can radiate our creativity without inhibition through our arms. Open the wings of the heart. Take one more breath. And on your next exhale, can we bring the hands back down to the floor or to the chair, finding our lunge pose. And then we can drop knees and come into child's pose if you like, or we can step back into another downward facing dog. So lots of different options. If your hand's on the chair, it's a really delicious version of downward facing dog. You have so much space in the spine when you use the chair for this. So from either table pose or down dog, inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, draw the knee in towards the chest. You've been here before. And drop the foot to the ground. So we found lunge pose with the right foot forward. Hands could be on the chair here or on the ground, whatever works for you. Notice that your left foot is to the left side of your mat, so there's room for your body to make this next transition. Pivot on the ball of the left foot, the whole heel comes down, and you push up strongly through your legs to find your warrior two shape with your legs. Draw back with the right foot, forward with the left foot, so the two legs are magnetized towards each other. Wrap the muscles of the pelvis around the girdle so that you feel like you can have a lot of containment of the energy we're cooking in the core and through the heart. Hands could come together at the heart. Acknowledge your uniqueness, your specialness. A lot of times, especially I grew up in the 60s, it was all about conformity back then, I think. So a lot of times my specialness was really derided or ridiculed, or they tried to train it out of us. So now it's time to shine. It's time to be your own special snowflake. Here we go. Inhale, radiate from the heart, and exhale, gather back in. Moving with your breath. It's not about reaching your hands to the outer walls. It's not about overstretching. It's about, this is your chance to shine. This is who you are at your heart. And now is the time. If we don't do it now, when will we? This is the time to express our creativity, express our uniqueness. Such gentle movements with the arms, but so effective really at moving that energy. When your arms are outstretched, keep the palms forward or facing up towards the ceiling, whatever works better for your shoulders. Soft bend in the elbows, little bit of a down slope, very soft and bouncy here. Slowly straightening the right knee, not locking it, but giving it a bit more of a straight appearance. Take one more inhale, really sending energy out to the fingertips, and keep sending energy in that direction as you tip on the exhale into Trikonasana or triangle pose. So this isn't about getting a hand to the block or, stretching something. This is about radiating from the heart center out through your arms. This is the relationship we've been talking about how you express yourself out in the world. Where does your creativity come from? Do you feel brave in showing your love and connection? And we do that through our creativity. Take a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, we can bring our hands around on an exhale, once again to the lunge pose. And we can drop knees, or we can come back into plank. If you're using the chair, you might want to consider coming towards your mat again, so you can lower down onto your belly.
Now, if what I'm demonstrating just doesn't look like a good plan for you today, feel free to come down onto the belly in any way you can. And if being on your belly is not going to work, roll over onto your back briefly, just so you can take a little bit of time to integrate the heart energy that we've been activating today. So I've chosen a plank pose for a brief moment, and I'm going to come down right to my belly. So lowering down carefully without letting my belly sag. So hopefully we've all made our way down onto the floor one way or another. For my friends that are resting on their backs, you might need to bend your knees just to be kind to your back. And simply take this time to allow the sense of energy we've been working on in the heart center to permeate through all areas of the body. We'll catch up with you in just a moment. For those of us that are on the belly, please bring your hands beside the rib cage. Open up the fingers like you might have done in down dog, pressing into the knuckles, and then anchoring the legs and the pelvis to the ground. So this is the same sort of principle as we used in our triangle and our warrior pose and our lunge pose, really knowing where the pelvic girdle is and having it very firm. And then from here, let's inhale, coming up into cobra pose, collarbones wide. Exhale, softly lower down, turning the head to one side. Inhale, opening the heart, lifting it forward. Exhale, lowering down. So think about radiating through the heart, opening that energy, connecting that energy to the function of the shoulder girdle. So if you push up too aggressively, too quickly, you close that off. The collarbones pop forward, the wings of the heart are stilled. One more breath and I will have gone to each side an equal number of times. Let's take a breath in and out, just in a neutral position. And then let's gently roll over onto our backs so we can all come back together briefly on our backs. I've got my knees bent, feet on the floor. Just kind of absorbing, I'm going to say waves of energy, radiations, being tuned in to those subtler aspects of movement. We're usually so busy, we don't pay attention. And then let's just do a little release for the shoulders, a little nice thing we can do for the shoulders. So let's imagine that we're outside and it's the beautiful sort of thing that we're looking forward to on Monday at the winter solstice. We're looking forward to that great conjunction. So let's imagine that we're looking at a black velvet sky with the sparkling diamond stars. And we're going to do a little star picking. So warm up your fingers. And then leaving your head heavy into the mat, leaving your pelvis heavy into the mat, reach up through one arm and then pluck a star and boom, drop it back down. And then other hand reaches up, we pluck a star, and then the shoulder blade thumps back down. So we reach and then plump, and reach and plop, 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 back and forth, picking stars. Head stays heavy, jaw stays relaxed, tongue muscle relaxed. Plucking stars, plucking stars, plucking stars. We're in the Milky Way. There's a lot of stars. Good. And then eventually flop with both arms. When you're ready, we can roll over to our sides and press up from the floor. These last couple movements could easily be done from a chair. I'm going to sit on my blanket, but you could easily do these last few things from a chair. So please feel free to move to sitting in a chair if that works better than sitting on the ground. Remember, our litmus test here is hip joints higher than the knee joints. So if I put a marble in my hip joint, it would roll down to the knee. And then, so easily sit in a chair or be like this is your choice. Do just a little bit of emphasis on breathing, a couple different things with our arms and hands that might help us express our energy a bit more accurately. So the first little thing is called the sipping breath. So it's actually a 3-part inhale. Sip a little bit, hold, take a little bit more breath in, hold, and then finish all the way to the top, and then a smooth exhale. And everything's done through the nose. Now there's a couple different gestures with the hands that you can add in to kind of enhance this. So let's practice the hand motion and then we can time the breath in. So hands can start down anywhere they're comfortable. And then you take the left hand. So I'm demonstrating with my left hand now. On the first sip, you lift the left hand slowly. And then you bring the left palm in. And then as you finish the inhale, you touch the hand to your chest. And then as you exhale, you release the arm back down. So it's called the sipping breath. And what we're doing is we're taking the energy in 3 little stages, bringing it to the heart, and then releasing whatever we don't need back out down towards the ground. So the palm turns down. Right arm doesn't have a whole lot of a job to do. I do kind of like to keep the right hand on my body somewhere. And if there's a place in your body that you feel could benefit from some extra heart energy, maybe you've got belly troubles, hip troubles, knee troubles, head troubles, any of those places, you could place the right hand there and maybe the heart energy would find its way into that area. So you can close your eyes. You can look down at the floor so your eye muscles can relax a little bit. Sit upright. You could be seated in a chair, works just fine. Start your inhale, turn the palm up. Keep inhaling, slowly bring the hand in, pause, and then finish inhaling, bring the hand right to the heart, touch, and then exhale, release the hand, palm down onto your lap, and repeating. So there's 3 parts to the inhale. And 1 long, smooth exhale. Let's do 1 more. And then if you want to, you can turn the palms to face upward. Connect the thumb with the tip of the ring finger. The peace fingers are gathered together and straight out. The baby fingers straight out, and the palms are turned up. It's just the tip of the thumb and the ring finger that are connected, and that's a very light connection. Continuing the emphasis on a soft, wave-like breath. Let's just be here for maybe 3 or 4 more breaths. The gesture you're creating with your hands is thought to be very helpful for bringing energy and rotating energy through the heart center. You can stay here or create a different shape with your hands.
So I'm demonstrating if my words aren't clear. Bring your hands together. Let the baby fingers and thumbs continue to touch all the way along the length, but then open up the middle 3 fingers away from each other, which creates what we call lotus mudra, a flower type shape. I like to place my hands now right in front of the heart center and think about the shape of my hands as creating a funnel, almost as though you would use a one of those megaphones when you're trying to address a crowd. And I like to think of my hands now amplifying my heart energy, giving me permission to express my true heart out there in the world. Couple breaths here, perhaps. And then staying there as long as you like. I'm going to release my hands now and gradually move my legs into a space away from me. So if you're sitting in a chair, just stay in a seated mountain pose. It's going to work fine. In this case, I've stretched my legs out into a straight line in front of me. You might want a rolled blanket or something under your backs of your knees so that you can do a forward fold safely here. Then when you're ready, think about all the expressions out of the heart that we did, and then radiate heart energy out your arms. Inhale here. Exhale, wrap your arms around in a nice deep hug. So remember which arm is on top. That'll be important in a minute. And then see if you can wiggle your hands around behind you so that your fingertips are brushing the wings or your shoulder blades. So if you're sitting in a chair, it's exactly the same, as best as you can. Inhale, sit up a little taller, and as you exhale, angle forward into a gentle forward fold. Now, obviously, I can't touch my toes or grab a strap. I'm just allowing a little stretch between the shoulder blades. Let the head nestle down in between the nest created by your arms. Take a few breaths, breathing into the back body. Remember which arm is on top. Inhale up, extending the spine. Let your arms rest for a moment. On your next inhale, radiate energy from the heart out right through to the fingertips, and exhale, other arm is on top as you come into that nice hug. Inhale tall, and exhale, forward fold. Let your chin nestle into your arms, supporting your neck. Breathe to the space behind the heart. Remember, the heart chakra is a 3-dimensional, dynamic, spherical, glowing ball of energy. Just because we always see the front of us in the mirror doesn't mean there aren't important parts of us that we don't see all the time. And then releasing, letting your arms rest. One more thing, we have time. Seated in a chair works great for this, or you could be where you are now, bending the left leg and stepping the right foot across over the left leg. Make sure both of your sitting bones stay firmly onto the floor. If you're on the chair, don't worry about crossing your legs. That might be awkward when you're sitting in a chair. Just follow along from here. So again, thinking about heart, what's going on here? As you inhale and lift the right arm, is it coming right from the heart energy? Is that radiation happening? Keep that buoyancy as you exhale and twist, and then allow the arm to relax over the left leg. Keep the shoulders soft here. As soon as we start bracing with the shoulders and get tense through the shoulders in order to get into the twist, we've cut down the flow of heart energy. So keep the shoulders soft, keep the collarbones wide. Don't crank your neck all the way around to the left. Go back to the pelvis. Press down through the sitting bones. Press down through the feet. Keep your feet active, keep your legs active, keep your pelvis wrapped in muscular hug. Breathe softly, but thoroughly. On your next inhale, slowly release the twist. Let's stretch both legs out. We'll come back to seated mountain pose. And then when you're ready, we can bend the right leg, step the right leg across over the left. Think about the heart. Now remember, you don't have to cross the legs if you're sitting in the chair. It might not work that well. Just want to make sure both of our sitting bones are grounded, having that firm pelvic girdle. Then from the heart, radiating out on your inhale, and then radiating forward as you come into the twist. And that's on the exhale. Now, here's what it might look like if you did it without being mindful of the heart energy. You might get really, really tall, and then you really aggressively push yourself into the pose. That's not where we want to go. We want to be really fluid and really soft, and really allow that lovely creative energy, that uniqueness that is you, to find your personal expression of this pose. Press into your feet, press down through your sitting bones. Don't crank your head all the way around to the right, totally unnecessary. Couple more breaths here. And then let's ease out of the posture and make our way towards Shavasana. So we might want to get socks back on, sweaters back on. Arrange our props so that we have support underneath us. And ensure that we'll be warm enough as we spend a couple minutes integrating all that we've been studying today. So as you come down into your Shavasana, whatever shape your unique body is asking for today, on this unique day, make sure that you've arranged yourself in a way that your arms can be comfortable. Often Shavasana is cued that we have to stick our arms out and turn our palms up. Yeah, maybe that doesn't work. Maybe you'd rather have hands on your belly, touching some other part of your body. Maybe you'd like a little bit of padding underneath your arm so that you can take some pressure off the shoulders. So exploring your unique shape, your unique Shavasana shape. And every time you do that for yourself in any yoga pose or in life in general, every time you check back in with the heart and say, is this serving who I am at my heart? Is this supporting me in expressing my unique creativity and gifts? And if you use that kind of litmus test as you go through life and make your decisions, I think you probably find life is on whole much more satisfying. It might not look as pretty to someone else, but that's their problem. And when we talk about, oh, we need to follow our heart, It's not a whimsical idea. It's not a pipe dream. It's actually what you were born to do. So softening now. Relaxing the bones towards the ground. Trusting in yourself. You've done all humanly possible during your class to move that energy, to connect to that energy, to free the wings of the heart. Now it's time to let that go, to rest. To trust that all that's been done has been done in the name of the higher good. And that what you have set in motion is exactly what should happen. Let your breath flow just easily, wave-like. The health of the heart and lungs is very associated with the mobility of the shoulders. So let your breath flow freely to nurture this area of your body. So with an open heart and a body that's now been heated by the fire of our asana practice, we can more naturally realize our compassion, our creativity, and lovingly serve the world. The shoulders are the wings of the heart. And if we use them properly, our hearts can soar. If you would like to spend a little bit more time today integrating your practice, then please stay right where you are. But if it's time for you to move on to your next activities, be very gentle on yourself. Roll to your side. Let's rejoin each other in a seated position. Bring the hands together at the heart, offering reverence and love back into ourselves. And let's express all that we've experienced in class today, right from the heart, as we share the chant of Om. I'm inhaling now. Namaste. So I'd love to talk and